We have a serious sexual assault problem in the United States. One of the reasons why, toxic masculinity.
No, you don't have. Have you seen how people reacted when the UEA case, rape case, came to light? And it was a fake rape case. So there's no rape culture in the United States of America. Try to get it through your thick skull. Or at least it seems to be quite thick. And where do you put the rapists? In prison. And if somebody is not convicted, do you see them walking around high-fiving other guys? No, you don't. And if you see one, film that thing and send it to me. Okay?
Now let's be clear, masculinity is not inherently a bad thing. What's bad is when society tells us that being a man means things like strength and power at the expense of being allowed to really feel things.
Men can feel things. We have feelings. Most men just don't show it in public. You don't see men usually crying. You don't see women crying that much either. But I remember a psychiatrist telling that men's pain is taboo because we don't know how to handle men's pain. I don't remember who, and I once tried to find that clip, but I couldn't. So that's a shame. But I think it's fairly accurate.
Imagine your favorite male protagonist. Is he cold and aloof, hardened, brooding? Does he scowl, make dark jokes in the face of danger? Well, this is our cultural ideal of manhood. It gets worse when anything that society deems feminine, like having feelings.
Yes, two of my favorite male characters are Batman, as you can see, pretty much. And he is brooding and he is deep inside very angry. But look, if he's just crying in the corner about his dead parents, he wouldn't be Batman. And of course you can debate whether Batman is good or bad for Gotham and the world. But, you know, at least he's doing something good, trying to help people. And the other one is, of course, MacGyver, who, if I remember correctly, didn't cry, but he did show quite a lot of feelings. And even when he punched somebody, you know, he would just shake the wrist that it hurt. So, two different characters, and both are manly. And MacGyver is a really manly man, he even drinks milk. I don't drink milk, but that's another story.
Gets pegged as a threat to manhood. The worst thing a manly man can do is act like a woman. Side note, this is also why toxic masculinity is super homophobic.
This is just me, but it might be that, you know, guys think that if they have a homosexual friend or come contact with a homosexual man, they think that he might, you know, tries to flirt and tries to hit on you. So it makes them uncomfortable. And of course, some people do hate gay people, but is it just me, or does somebody else also think this way?
DeAndre Levy of the Detroit Lions wrote recently, quote, "It's truly astounding how many awful things that occur in this world because men are afraid of appearing weak."
Women, are socially accepted to be weak, but then if you look at the stats, the most violent relationships are lesbian relationships, and then mothers are the most likely person to be abusive to children. Not mother and father, not father, just mother is the highest. It looks like, being weak doesn't always help either. In my home country, we did have a case that actually quite close to my hometown. A man tried to get help and he was denied somehow, some reason, and then he went out and killed a random person on the street, which was a person I was going to school with. Her friend was killed. So even if men try to get help, they are not always gonna get help. We can debate if it's toxic masculinity or something else. The reason why men might not get help when they need it.
Levy notes that in locker rooms, power is measured in sexual conquests, dehumanizing women in the process.
Sure, men might talk about their conquests in the locker room, but it's just locker room talk. And as I said in one of my previous videos, that a female hockey goalie said that the stuff that women talk in the locker room are much worse than what guys talk in the locker room. So should we discuss what women talk in their locker rooms? And besides, which TV show is one of the most popular female TV shows? Sex and the City, where Samantha has sex with just about anybody. And this year's movie for women, it was 50 Shades of Grey. Or was it last year? I think it was last year. Okay, 2015's movie. So, yeah. Toxic femininity. Dehumanizing men like that is just, boils my blood.
We're so caught up in these toxic ideas that a woman granting her affirmative consent to sex, well, that too often becomes secondary to our need.
Bullshit. Idiot. But what can we expect from MTV nowadays? I remember it was, I think, summer 2001 when Bon Jovi's It's My Life music video, played a lot on MTV. I haven't watched MTV before or since that much. And now it's Francesca's Decoded, and then Lazy Green's Brawl is just ugh. And I kind of feel sorry for this guy, because I can imagine that Francesca and Lazy did this to this guy.
In the cock! Ha! Right in the nads! Look at that! Ah!
Let's put that in the context of American colleges and universities, where sexual assault has become an epidemic. Reported sex crimes increased 126% from 2001 to 2013.
It's funny how some statistics show that it's very unlikely that you get raped or sexually assaulted on campus. So, who knows? And they're gonna probably go up with yes means yes. I wonder if somebody would look false accusations as well, how much theft gone up in that time.
College is a petri dish for bad ideas about sexual behavior, a place that often magnifies toxic conceptions of masculinity. Too many men learn in college to view women as things to be aggressively obtained, to be conquered, to be used for our enjoyment and pleasure. That's just part of what we know as rape culture. All the ideas and beliefs that make people think sexual violence is acceptable.
Dude, Duke Lacrosse team, there's the article, I'm gonna put a link down below probably. They're still running their past, because even though they were innocent, people still view them as rapists. So does that really sound like it's okay to use sexual violence against women or men? Idiot!
Rape culture includes the misogynist images we're fed in popular culture, where male violence is depicted as sexually alluring and something that enhances the protagonist's manhood.
50 Shades of Grey. And a lot of women do have rape fantasies. So, internalized misogyny. And no, I'm not saying that if a woman has rape fantasies, that it means that somebody can rape her.
Toxic masculinity, when you think about it, is very selfish. A lot of that is about entitlement. We're entitled to a voice, entitled to a job, entitled to sex. All these things we're told we deserve because we're guys.
Yeah, all those men throughout history that have forced to go to war, have put their lives before women and children, yeah, they are really selfish. Not like women like Hillary Clinton saying that the women are the biggest victims of war. And I would say every man, 99% of men have faced rejection and have been rejected. And yes, rapists are the ones who don't take no for an answer. And aren't the women being entitled to a job with boardrooms needing to be 40% women or 25% or whatever? I can't remember the word. And then in the New York City, women didn't pass critical physical test and still became a firewoman. So it seems that women are more entitled to a job than men. And in many cases, sex as well, or even more often, because they assume men always want sex. And I believe there's even an article that denying women sex is rape. So there you go!
Some of us don't react well when we're challenged. Women disagreeing with us or telling us no, for example. In those moments, we react how we've learned to. With aggression, with harassment, with violence.
Yeah, you see it all the time. Women walking around with black eyes because they dare to disagree with men in the workplace or somewhere. You know, it's a really an epidemic. We should really do something about that.
With violence. We've got to unlearn that stuff. Basically, toxic masculinity has screwed us guys up. Anger, violence, and entitlement are not admirable qualities. And coming to grips with that is the first step in understanding that ending sexual assault is our problem to solve too. So how do we solve this? How do we detox? Hold friends accountable and intervene when you see harassment or assault.
Haven't you seen the social experiments where a man is beating up a man, everybody laughs or, does something like, and one woman goes like, yeah, do. And when a man beats up a woman on the street, what they do? Do they cheer? I think they cheer. And some even go along and start punching and kicking the woman. Or do they intervene and stop the guy?
Don't be the guy who wishes he'd said something to stop his friend. Listen to survivors and believe them when they speak up. If you don't, it has a chilling effect for others who have experienced sexual assault.
I heard that you raped Blair White, you monster!
They see other survivors being shut down or dismissed and think it would be easier to stay quiet. Read and understand legislation that's addressing the problem, including a bill called the Campus Safety and Accountability Act, which would create incentives for schools to better protect students from sexual assault. If you support bills like this, let your senator or representative know. If not, be constructive and suggest ways to improve them. And most of all, learn about and practice affirmative consent, which means all parties in sexual activity communicating an explicit yes.
I think you need to be quite a dumbass or a psychopath that without an affirmative yes to every act you do every 5 seconds, you need a yes that you can't tell that the person doesn't enjoy that or don't want that. I'm not saying that yes, the asking, is a bad thing, but I think that 99.999% of people usually get the picture that if somebody is not liking.
And when one person's mental state is impaired because they're drunk or high, there is no consent.
So, are you saying that if a man is more drunk than a woman, or a man is drunk, then women have committed sexual assault against men? Of course you don't. Men can't be raped, right?
I'm Jamil Smith, and this is The Racket.
Oh, is this gonna be another series? Oh, we already have Decoded and Brawlers. MTV, home of the social justice warriors.
I call you idiots, but at this point I'm starting to doubt whether you understand what I mean by the word.